We're back from executive session. We're continuing with open session with the chief interview with Chief Watkins. He's on his way. Welcome, Chief. How you doing? Chief Smedley, go ahead.
Uh, Good afternoon, Chief Watkins. My name's Corey Smedley. I'm a consultant with ESCI to help out with this fire chief process. Want to just welcome you to the process. This portion of the process will last 20 minutes, consisting of 6 questions. And before we get started, I'd like the commissioners to introduce themselves to you.
Commissioner Fuller.
Bill Fuller.
Greg Burris.
Greg Brusso.
Joanne Vadino.
Bill Gates.
Chief Watkins, I'm going to start with the first question. Again, you have 20 minutes, sir. Please describe your fire service background and how it has prepared you successfully to lead this organization.
Yeah, thank you for the question, sir. Yeah, I'm a fire service background, 33 years experience in the fire service. I've been in 3 different types of governance. I've been in the state, municipality, and also in a district setting. Of those 33 years, I've spent 25 of the last, almost 26 now in January with my current employer. And through that organization, I've risen through all the ranks from firefighter to the deputy chief's position. The deputy position in our organization is very similar, if not equivalent, to the assistant chief's position here. So there's a lot of equivalency that comes across for me there. Through my experience, I've garnered through my time, I've garnered a lot of experience and gained some expertise in a variety of different areas. And after having communicated with the staff in our previous meetings and mixers, I've come to understand that a lot of the experiences that I have gained are completely translatable to the organization of South King. And so really look forward to the opportunity to be able to share those experiences as we move on through the process. As far as formal training goes, I am a certified chief officer of the state of California. Coming from that area, we have a very vast training system. Also, I've recently completed the EFO courses required for the state of California's equivalent of the national EFO program. I have a current task book open, and I'm trying my best to get that completed as soon as I possibly can. However, the tasks are quite in-depth and very complex, and I'll be lucky if I get half of them done, but a start is always good. And so I'm just looking to share those experiences I can with the South King Fire District, and hoping to see it through.
We'll pause for about 30 seconds to allow the commissioners to write. So if it's a silence, just bear with us. Number 2, what areas would you prioritize in your first 6 to 12 months as fire chief, and why?
Yeah, so I think the first area that I would really like to focus on, and I've kind of laid out a 30, 60, 90-day plan, but I think the first portion of that time period would need to be dedicated to reestablishing the trust and confidence within the chief officer position, and then also building that trust and confidence of myself with the district commissioners themselves, and working tightly and collaboratively with the local is obviously ever present as well, because they are the arm that will help push things forward and let us know when we're traveling in a direction that will be supported. There's no point in putting effort forward if it's going to run into an immediate roadblock. And so I believe that establishing a good basis of communication along the line, that would be one of my first priorities that I would go after. The next thing I look to address within the organization is just to ensure that there is a continuity in command, that we are all following the chain of command, that we have a reliable source of understanding how the flow is supposed to communicate up and down through that chain. I've come from an organization where I've experienced when it doesn't work that way, and it has disastrous effects if it's not corrected in an immediate fashion. And so that's one of the things I'd like to do. And then Thirdly, I think of good importance too is trying to understand the inner workings of the organization. After having conversations within the mixers, it became very apparent that there are some plans that need to be developed to make sure that we have a valid roadmap moving forward. And of those two that were of high interest to me right away were the lack of availability for me, at least, to see a capital asset and an improvement plan, and also to see a station and maintenance facility schedule coupled with an apparatus schedule and maintenance schedule. So those are the kind of things that I look at right away. Obviously, we fill in the holes and deal with the immediate tasks at hand. Obviously, the best laid plan is always thwarted somewhere. And so we have to prioritize our time and make sure we deal with issues as they come up so they don't become something that we can't deal with in the very near future. And so I also would like to start building relationships. Obviously, being new to the area, that's going to be probably my greatest challenge. Is I'm coming from an area where, with my experience, I know all the players, I know who everybody is, and so I feel like the freshman in high school, if you will, to where I got to get out and start meeting some people, right? And I think I started my day here on Monday, reached out to the consortium and got a good feel for what that looks like. But it immediately impressed upon me that there's some opportunities there for us to be present at the regional and state level as well. Seems like there's been a little bit of absence there. So in my leadership style, I'd be present, and that's what I would plan to do in that first year is make myself out there, make myself available and get out there and make sure that people know who we are and why we are and that we're here to do business.
What fundamental beliefs or core values drive your approach to leadership?
So I really focus on two. I know there's a lot of them out there, and I really pride myself in focusing core values on courage and humility. And I say that because utilizing those two core values, they branch out into everything else that means anything to the fire service. And so if an individual has courage to do the right thing, they're able to be responsive in their duty, and they're able to maintain integrity while they're carrying out such said duty. And then with the humility piece, it allows people to remain positive, right? And then it also, in order to be humble, an individual has to be selfless. And so when I look at those two core values, even though they are just two words on paper, the value to the group, if they're conveyed correctly, is much more powerful than just those words. And that's my fundamental belief. I don't dive into a lot of verbose, a bunch of rhetoric that may fall on deaf ears. I think if you keep it clean, concise, and very simple, core values are easy to follow. I think we as humans all have an established set of core values, especially in the fire service. We're very, very relatable to those and what the meaning are. And so I rely heavily upon my staff to make sure that we follow those two basic core values.
How have you been actively involved in the community in your previous positions, and how do you plan to continue this involvement in South King?
Thank you. Yeah, so when it comes to community outreach, that's a huge piece. I come from a community, currently it's residing at, about 75,000 people. And of that, I would say safely that, 25 to 27% of them are our senior community. And so starting early on in my career with the city of Rockland, I was put in charge of a couple programs and responsibilities, and I developed a senior safety fall prevention program, which had overwhelming success and still used to this day. I've since handed it off, and it's morphed into something even more greater than that. But currently in my position as a deputy chief, I'm responsible for attending a variety of organizational meetings and outside presentations as well as events. And so in the city of Rockland, we typically have, anywhere between we usually have about one community engagement event every quarter. And they're vast size. We get great participation. Several thousand people come participate in those. I don't have direct involvement in setting them up, but the responsibility that the department plays in making sure that we're present, that people know that we're there and we're available for them, is of the utmost importance. And so The requirement is for us to be there. The expectation is for us to be there and make an appearance, but my appearances usually last the full time. I've kind of alluded to it briefly in a prior question, but as a fire chief or even as a deputy chief, I've learned the importance of being present and being in front of everybody at every given opportunity, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come back to you. And if I have an opportunity to sell my department, let people know why we're there and how we're doing and what we need maybe to get things done, there's a much greater opportunity to navigate through that process in an open forum and not in a closed session. And so I don't take those situations lightly. In our community, we also very active in we do an annual Easter egg hunt, which is always probably one of my most fun that I have. It's 10,000 kids on a bunch of softball fields with 30,000 eggs, and they're gone in 3 minutes. So it's amazing. It takes longer to set them out there than it does for them to gobble them up. And then obviously we have a big kickoff. I've been part of it for several years. It's definitely a local funded event. It's a union event, but it's our Santa Drive. And so very similar to what you do here. Ours is 8 days long, 4 hours each day. And now we have an interactive roadmap this year we're going to try for the first time and see how that goes, so that we don't miss any of the young kiddos when they're out there waiting for Santa to show up. And so those are limited programs, but I am all in about community outreach. I think it's one of the best things we can do. It doesn't cost us anything to do, but the benefit that it will return to the department is tenfold.
Chief, how do you approach collaboration with emergency response agencies and community organizations to address shared challenges?
Well, I think, nowhere in the fire service and anywhere that I've worked, nor even in this region, there's very few, I shouldn't say there's none, but there's very few opportunities in which one department can control 100% of everything that's going on within their jurisdiction. And so the collaboration piece is very huge. Where I come from, in Western Placer County, we have very limited resources there. Countywide, we could probably stand up, 25 to 30 engines if we had to. But the reality of it is it's about half of those are available at any given time. And so for us to make sure that we're responding with the appropriate amount of resources to the event, our policy and process has always been to have a minimum of 21 personnel on scene to meet the requirements in NFPA 1710. That's of utmost important to us. And the only way we can conceivably do that is by calling on our partners. Those partners and those relationships would not exist if we didn't have the ability to collaborate and work together in any fashion. And so, those are kind of the resources, and those are the things that we need to master, early on in the first year part of the plan. When we were discussing it earlier, those are some of those commitments that I need to make as far as the communication piece goes, to get out there and do outreach myself, my own community outreach to the fellow fire chiefs and operations chiefs within the division, and to make sure that we're all on the right page and we're all in agreement about what we can expect from each other in a time of need.
How do you establish trust and open communication with both union leadership and non-represented employees?
Well, you can't establish trust without communication. I mean, they go hand in hand. Anybody that has a fallacy that you can actually be able to build trust by sitting behind a closed door and texting and typing and doing all these great things that we're so used to doing, although that is an accepted form of communication nowadays. To me, real communication is this right here in front of you guys. Face-to-face communication means so much more to me than anything else. And I've come to be an individual in my leadership style that if you don't have trust, you don't have anything. You really can't. I think we all as adults have learned to come to understand trust is hard to gain and it's easy to lose, right? You break it and you have a heck of a time trying to get it back. And so I would much rather be the individual that has an open line communication, open door kind of policy to where I'm ready and prepared to engage with everybody in any format and using any media that they deem necessary. But it is of the utmost importance that communication take place in a manner that is, it needs to be concise, it needs to be direct, and it needs to be factual. And above all, it needs to be truthful, right? If we as an organization want to maintain the confidence in our community, we need to make sure we engage in a truthful fashion. And it needs to be transparent communication is the way to do it. I don't look at communication between non-represented and represented employees any different. I think everybody has an equal voice. Everybody should have an opportunity to be heard. And at the end of the day, we all have to know and understand where the buck stops, if you will, and that there will be a final decision made based on the best facts that we can gather. In my current organization, working with the union specifically, I know that's a big piece for us as well. Myself and my union vice president are tied at the hip almost all the time. If I want to look at developing a process or a policy, when it's in draft form, I'm sending it to him for review. Because again, as I previously alluded to, if I don't have the support of the membership, then there's really no point in pushing it forward until we get it right. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means we need to work more collaboratively to get it across the finish line. And so, again, community partners, internal and external stakeholders all have the same rights to all the same communication, and that's open, honest, and effective.
Chief Watkins, we're going to transition to the spot topic portion of the presentation. Of the interview, I'm sorry. You will provide 3 current trends in the fire service as instructed, and you will have 10 minutes to do so.
Sure.
Let me know when you're ready.
This was one of those questions you're like going, well, I hope I get this one right. Because it's all opinions, right? So yeah, I'm ready to go, sir.
It's on you.
All right, thank you. And so I developed these 3 topics for you. And the first one for me, we're obviously seeing an enormous advancement in trend and technology, right? So one of the things I wanted to cite here is there's 2 different sides of that said technology, and one of them is directly related to the administrative side of the house, and the other one causes concerns on the suppression side of the house. And so I just wanted to convey this to you. And so when we talk about the administrative side, I'm talking about data and analytics, right? I'm talking about the ability for us to acquire data sets through our normal and daily routine activities, capturing the data as we see fit, and hopefully we're acquiring the clean version of the data, because what I've experienced in my previous organization or my current organization is data is only good as what you put in. And so garbage in is garbage out. And so we wasted a lot of time not having the right expectation set and gathering the set of data metrics that we needed, and it cost us a year of time. And so that's a waste for us. We don't have that kind of time. So we want to make sure that we are understanding that there are trends out there in the data world. There's a lot of different mechanisms out there and a lot of different providers that are going to be hunting us down and trying to sell us their product, but it's up to us as administration and commission to deem what would be necessary and what's going to work best for the organization. On the other side of it, though, the suppression piece is kind of concern, and we all see them every day on the road, and we see these the beautiful cars that zip right by us and they don't make a noise in the world, and that electronic vehicle technology is creating a lot of problems for us, right? I personally have had we have a Tesla dealership in my current jurisdiction, and there's trainings that have been done, and basically we've said, hey, can you come out and help us and learn these processes? Said we build them, you put them out. So that technology is a benefit to us, but it's causing us a problem. And so I just wanted to bring those 2 items up because they both need to be addressed in the fire service, but they are also obviously going to be handled in a very different fashion. Realized I don't have my glasses on, and that's impossible. The faster I write, the worse it gets. So there we go. We're ready. Another trend that we're seeing in the fire service, and I deal with this on a daily basis within my organization, is an uptick in behavioral health and wellness. And I won't give up the ghost, but this hits very close to home with me. And so I wanted to make sure that it was identified and highlighted in this meeting because these trends can have a detrimental effect on not only our employees, which is, that is our number one asset that we have. If we lose an employee in the fire service, it takes us years to get them back or get somebody back that is at the same capacity. And so it's very important that we recognize that this trend exists and identify ways in which we can improve our success in making sure that we limit this liability. Currently within the organization, within the South King organization, my initial research says that in the last 5 years, we've had an uptick of 82% or up to $2.46 million in L&I. And I can't tell you which of that is attributed to the behavioral health piece or on the job injury, but that's a big number. And if there's any way through training and ongoing sessions, whatever that may look like, and there's an opportunity to reduce that number, we could save some funding there and make that work. And then the last thing I had for you, the third issue that I have is one of the trends that I'm seeing, and it wasn't a trend for me until I became a deputy chief, and I was asked to create a biennial budget, is that the difficulty that we're experiencing now, we've always talked about long-range forecasting. We've talked about having standardized standards of coverage and items such as that, documents such as those. But the issue now is not only is it a 5-year roadmap, but now we got to break into all the different things that are happening. And it's still, everybody wants to say it's a COVID issue, but when we start looking at delays in fundings, we start looking at delays in apparatus acquisition, delays in repair and maintenance costs for the same piece of equipment, it's starting to have a dramatic effect. Not only are you looking at, I need to replace an engine, but now you got to consider, I need it tomorrow, but it's going to take me 4 years to do it. And so we are constantly in a state of flux within the organizations to make sure that we're able to maintain our fleet, to make sure that our staff can get it to where they need to be and support the communities they've been asking us to do.
Chief Watkins, this concludes the first portion, the open session part. We will move into executive session. At this time, I'll turn it over to the commission to take us to executive session. You'll get further instructions.
Thank you. This time we're going to executive session. The board convenes an executive session per RCW 42.30.1101G. Evaluate the qualification of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. However, subject to RCW 42.30.144, discussion by a governing body of salaries, wages, and other conditions of employment to be generally applied within the agency shall occur in a meeting open to the public. When the governing body elects to take final action, hiring, setting the salary of an individual employee or class of employees, or discharging or disciplining an employee, that action shall be taken in a meeting open to the public. Joining the board in executive session will be Assistant Chief Michaels, Executive Secretary Perry, HER Supervisor Gamble, Finance Manager Baird, Local 2024 President Basson, Chief Corey Smedley, I did that again. And then, of course, Chief Watkins. We are recessed until 4:05.